Hey all, John here. Welcome to my office, and today we're going to talk about network attached storage and why I think it is important for photographers. So a lot of wedding photographers I know use these type of drives. These are solid state, so these are good. They don't have any weird problems with being hit with vibration and stop working. They're really good. But a lot of you guys use spinning drives for long-term storage and store them in a drawer somewhere. If there's any type of vibration, let's say in your desk or something, those solid state drives, those spinning drives, the spinning platter drives, the head that allows the hard drive to be read by your PC can sometimes hit the drives and then cause a lot of data corruption. Now, for me, I have a NAS and I have two drives in there. So there's a thing called RAID. I use RAID 1, which allows me to duplicate data across two drives or more. So if I write, let's say, when I come home from a wedding, I do the same thing on my camera. Whenever I take a photo, it copies it to two cards at once, just in case one card fails, I have another. And then I can always put a new drive in and I have my data secured. But basically apply that same idea to your long-term storage. That's the same thing I do. So whenever I come home from a wedding, I import stuff into Capture One into something you call a session. So it imports all of those folders, all of those files, raw files, into one folder. And I open up my file explorer, go over to this PC, and I drop them in my current projects. So from there, it goes onto the NAS and both onto those two drives. I edit off of this file share with Capture One, and then when I'm done, I move it over to my archives, 2023 Minnesota, and then I drop it in there. Once I drop files in here, it actually locks them, so they're read-only. So you know how you can be dragging files from, let's say, your internal drive to your long-term storage, and you accidentally delete stuff. For me, I have that locked out, so I have it set up in something that you would call a worm. So it's write once, read many. So I can drop raw files in here, and they lock. I cannot modify them because they're done. They've been edited. So that's how I have my system set up. I also use this for personal use, but I have Windows isolated from that. I don't give it access to all my personal files. It just has access to my business stuff. So I'm going to show you the back end of how this solution works on TrueNAS scale. So that I'm using. So as you can see, this is my dashboard. I have a Xeon Bronze 3106, 64 gigs of RAM, 10 gig Ethernet on here, and then I have two main storage drives. So I have my first tier of spinning platter drives. Those are two 14 terabyte Seagate Exos drives. They're SAS drives. They're really nice. They work really well. Still have plenty of space. And then I have my cheaper NVMe drives. Those are just two 500 gig drives that store photos and documents, stuff like that. Data sets, I'll show you how it's set up. So just look at these. There's a whole bunch of folders with different permissions. So you can see I have personal data and my Quentin photography, some VMs that are stored on here for my hypervisor. YouTube has a VM, has a data set and VM. So I'll show you how my permissions work. So I created a ACL, this called it Quentin photography, and that includes my workstation and my XPS. So only my workstation and my XPS can access this on my network. Of course, that has read and write access. And then, of course, since I added the ACL, now I have to expose it to the network, and that's where the file shares come in for Windows. So those are added here. And this panel here allows me to see this in File Explorer. So of course, when you set up a NAS, you'll see it in your network, and you can just double click on it and then access it. So that's how that works. So this basically guarantees that if there is a drive failure, I will never lose files. I've tried other solutions like Open Media Vault and Unraid, and I've had bad experiences. I just feel like those two solutions are too limited, but with TrueNAS, it works pretty well. Now, I'm going to show you the alternatives that other people usually consider. Most people know about Synology. So these are the most popular options on Amazon that I found. You have solutions like this, Synology, which makes really good stuff. TrueNAS even has their own NAS. But honestly, I don't recommend these smaller NASs unless you are going up to like a full-on server style NAS. So like something like, if you're buying something like this, of course I would recommend that because you have all the expansion possible. But of course, I used to own an R540 which is one of these, and these fans get pretty loud. It doesn't get quiet at all, especially in a condo. So the next best thing to do, I would say, is to buy something like this. This is just a standard PC, but you have PCI slots and you have drive expansion. So you can see you have 4 flex space in the front, and then in the back you have more PCI slots. So if you want to have, like, let's say 12 NVMe drives in there, you can do that. You can expand the memory, you can expand the RAM. You can expand the RAM, you can expand, change the CPU out, whatever you would like to do. You have unlimited expandability. You can find ways to even fit more 2.5-inch SATA drives in there if you do please, if you fill up those 4. And it's still quiet. You can just sit in the corner and you won't hear it. I'm probably gonna clip in just an overview of what my current system looks like, just so you can get an idea. But yeah, this is a NAS and what it does and how I use it for my business. I may get into a more complicated video about how to install true NAS and how to set up one from scratch. That will be a much longer video, but again, thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the next video. It'll probably be the Pixel 7 review, and spoiler alert, I'm probably gonna switch back to the S23 Ultra. So again, thanks for listening all.